Hello everyone on Reddit. If you guys come across my post here, please consider staying and reading the entire thing. If you read the entire thing, please consider leaving your valuable feedback here. I, 30, female, have been having some troubles in the family. My husband Ian, 30, male, has a brother, Roy, 26, male, who's been nothing but a pain in the butt. I'm not exaggerating one bit when I say that he is an absolute fool. This man had a personal grudge against me and was always making fun of me. Why, you may ask? Well, it's because I'm a housewife. Roy is somewhat of a traditionalist, so he prefers having a housewife over having a working wife. I just think he likes being a patriarch and the breadwinner of the family since it makes him seem powerful. Unfortunately for him, his wife Joanna, 26, female, is a working wife. I can't blame Joanna for this because it's not by choice that she works two jobs. Roy is somewhat of a loser with a very low-paying job, so he can't really afford to let Joanna quit because they don't have the money. Roy has always been incredibly lazy and has little to no drive to do any work. He dropped out of college and doesn't even want to learn a new skill set to get a better job. All he does is complain about his finances and lament about how it would have been so much better if Joanna were a housewife. I must add here that Joanna also does the majority of the household chores because Roy can't be bothered to do a woman's job. So the poor woman basically works and takes care of the house. The two of them have had some issues with Roy's traditionalist mentality, especially because he keeps comparing Joanna to housewives. He basically went and cheated on her because he wasn't feeling like the center of Joanna's attention. I don't know what he was even thinking because, hello, that woman works two jobs and takes care of the house. Of course he's jealous of his brother because I am a housewife without him needing one. To be honest, I'm a housewife simply because I already have good money. My friend and I had developed an app a few years ago and ended up selling it for some big money. I married my husband shortly after and just decided to sit back and relax since I didn't really have to earn my daily expenses anymore. I still occasionally work on new ideas, but I am mostly a housewife now. My husband is also in the tech industry, so he earns a lot of money as well. So all in all, the conditions were right for me to be a housewife. It was a tough decision that we took after discussing things for months. Roy hates all of this. He hates that his brother earns enough not to require his partner to work. He hates that I got rich fast. I have gathered from his attitude and comments over the years that he is jealous of us. He wouldn't say it outright though. Anyway, he often makes jokes about how I was a useless housewife and that I reverted to being unemployed because I am simply not good at what I do. Whenever we meet, he's always making snide and downright mean comments about me. Joanna usually tries to hush him and sometimes even apologizes for his comments, but Roy always does what he wants and shows no regret. I have tried my best to grow a thick skin and dismiss him, but it has been getting hard to do that. Then everything came to a head when he gifted me a vacuum cleaner for my birthday because it's perfect for someone who doesn't work. Yeah, those were his words. Now there is one particular thing that made his gift exceptionally insulting. We have a cleaning lady who comes in twice a week. We can afford it. Roy never liked the fact that I don't do all the household chores like a real housewife should do. That's another reason why he keeps making fun of me. The vacuum cleaner was supposed to put me in my place and remind me that my duty lies in taking complete responsibility for household chores. I didn't make any savage replies to him that day. I simply smiled at him and accepted the gift. I didn't say anything to him because this time I wanted some sort of revenge. So I made a plan for petty revenge that Roy and his mother think has been awful. I decided to gift Roy what you can call an anti-cheating book. When he opened the gift, his eyes went wide and he started to turn red. He yelled at me and asked me what the meaning of the gift was. I simply told him it was the perfect gift for someone who struggles with loyalty and keeps having affairs. Oh boy, Roy did not like that at all. My husband found it funny though, because he laughed. My father-in-law laughed as well, but Roy started to yell at me and curse me out. My mother-in-law also started to tell me that I shouldn't have done this. There was a bit of an argument after which my husband and I left. Roy wasn't handling the gift well, and it was clear to us that we weren't welcome. We didn't want to be at the stupid party anyway. After leaving the party, I knew Roy would be mad at us, but I wasn't expecting the continuous barrage of texts berating me for bringing up his affairs again and causing marital problems. My mother-in-law also left me some harsh messages about how I rocked the boat and damaged the fragile marriage that Roy had. I'm also being accused of disrespecting Roy and ruining his birthday. Roy and Joanna's marriage has been on thin ice because of his affairs, so I kind of get why they are upset. But I don't see why it's unfair for me to be disrespectful to someone who has disrespected me in a similar way. Unfortunately, Roy and my mother-in-law are unwilling to accept that what I did was a payback for Roy's behavior. They are telling me that I took things too far just because Roy's gift had offended me. Yeah, the two of them don't think what he did to me was wrong. They just think I am holding petty grudges and intentionally causing damage in Roy's life because I can't get over some harmless teasing. Sorry to say, but I don't consider this harmless teasing at all. My husband agrees that Roy had it coming, but is a little unsure if bringing up the cheating was a good idea. He doesn't care about Roy's feelings, but he knows I put Joanna in an uncomfortable position. I do feel remorseful that Joanna became collateral, but I think Roy had it coming. It's been days since the party, but Roy and his mother haven't stopped harassing me and demanding a public apology. I am starting to feel doubtful about my stance and have been really confused about whether I am truly an idiot. So help me out, Reddit. AITA? Edit. I felt like an edit needed to be made because you guys keep leaving too many comments. I can't start replying to everyone here. I have time on my hands, but not that much time. First of all, I don't appreciate being called a doormat for putting up with Roy's insults. I used to handle a lot of idiots at work, so being a doormat wouldn't have made me go places. I have always stood up for myself and told Roy off for his words and actions. We had countless arguments and endless bickering that basically led us nowhere. If anything, I think my resistance to his insults pisses Roy off even more. He makes fun of me for being a trophy wife, but he knows I am even more capable than him. There's also the part where he wishes his wife were a housewife because it would make him feel like the man of the house. His own insecurities against me, and even his brother has made him lash out at me. Speaking of the brother, my husband is also not a doormat, thank you very much. He has a pretty shiny spine, and he is not afraid to show it. He knows how to stand up for me, and he has done that on all occasions. He is not the family peacemaker, as some of you may have thought. The peacemaker would actually be my mother-in-law, who always insists everything is said in fun and games. God, that woman and her babying habits annoy the heck out of me. No matter what happens, she would never see a fault in her precious son. No wonder Roy turned out to be such an obnoxious man. Also, most of you have been asking why we haven't gone no contact yet. That is a very good question. It's mostly because no contact with Roy would mean no contact with the mother-in-law. We are still on the fence about it. It is something that I would like to discuss with my husband, though. I think you guys are on to something when you say that I should put aside my petty comebacks and remove this problem for good. Update 1. Okay, the consensus is out. I am NTA. Although some of you thought that I should have tried to be a little more tactful. I do admit that I may have hurt Joanna because of my actions, but Roy had it coming. He should have expected me to retaliate against him because I am not someone who takes insults without giving it back. Some of you were under the false impression that I'm a doormat who can't stand up for myself. Well, I haven't really given you any details about my reaction, so you probably make the assumption that I never gave Roy a taste of his own medicine. I already mentioned in the edit that I had numerous fights with Roy because of his words and actions. Also, my husband isn't someone who lets his brother get away with insulting his wife. Contrary to what you think, he does stand up for me. But Roy just doesn't learn his lesson. To be honest, I took things so far only because having a conversation or even an argument with Roy wasn't making him see that he was being an idiot. Anyway, I still accept and acknowledge that while Roy had it coming, I should have been more thoughtful about Joanna, who's having a hard time with Roy's affairs. While I don't need to apologize to Roy, I definitely do need to apologize to Joanna. As for my mother-in-law, I owe her nothing. You guys have been right to assume that Roy is his mom's favorite kid. She had always been partial towards Roy, which is a contributing factor to Roy's failure in life. My father-in-law has tried to set Roy straight, but my mother-in-law's coddling just reversed whatever progress he had made. As a result, my father-in-law has always been extra critical of both Roy and my mother-in-law. My husband Ian also sees what a selfish and idiotic fool that his brother is. Like I said, they have gotten into a lot of arguments in the past and don't like each other very much. All in all, the family is pretty broken and a little dysfunctional. Ian and I would have gone no contact with Roy if not for my mother-in-law. She wouldn't have us breaking up the family and being mean to Roy. Mind you, she doesn't have a problem with Roy being mean to us. She usually dismisses Roy's actions as being silly and just pulling our leg for fun. She treats this whole thing as a silly sibling rivalry thing. Yeah, she is sort of delusional about Roy being rude and an insulting idiot. Talking to her and explaining anything would be futile, so we don't try. Honestly, Ian and I are actually contemplating going low contact for a while because we are tired of being mocked and insulted by Roy all the time. We know that mother-in-law would throw a fit and maybe go low contact with us because of this. But we are ready to accept that consequence. Ian is actually not happy about the way his mother is handling this situation. He seems to be at the end of his wits as well. We did have a long discussion about everything, and I even showed him the post. He read through the comments and some of your words really resonated with him. We are going to take your advice seriously and act on it. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave a comment. Your judgments and your advice have really helped us figure out our next course of action. Update 2. Since you guys have been so nice and supportive, I decided I should share more of what is happening in my life. I won't go into a different issue, though, because I have plenty to tell you about Roy and his despicable actions. My last update really helped me out a lot and made me see that my husband and I needed to cut Roy out of our lives. We decided to do that and even left Roy a message explaining our reasons for going no contact. Yeah, we went no contact because at this point we realized that we don't even want low contact anymore. Roy didn't have a lot to say about the no contact thing. He did call us cowards and other names that I won't repeat here. Ian and I ignored his obnoxious texts and went our way. Mother-in-law soon came to know about what happened and called us to yell at us about breaking up the family. We repeated our reasoning to her, but had to hang up when she wouldn't stop yelling at us. Father-in-law supports us in our decision, which is not a surprise at all. I did reach out to Joanna too. Like I said in the last update, I decided to apologize to Joanna because she had become collateral in this mess. I felt really bad for upsetting her at her own house, so I sent her a quick text about it. I apologized and asked her to meet up so that I could make it up to her. I was afraid that she would be mad at me or curse me out for bringing up Roy's infidelity. Even after knowing how much it hurt her, but to my surprise, she wasn't all that angry at me. She accepted my apology and actually said that she has been meaning to hit me up and ask to meet. I had no idea why she wanted to meet up, but I was glad that she did. I haven't mentioned it in the post or the update, but Joanna and I are really close. We admire each other and hype each other up all the time. She says I am her inspiration because I was able to build a successful business and could retire so early. I always praise her for being able to balance work and home without breaking a sweat. Joanna is truly a remarkable woman, and I have immense respect for her. I never really understood why she chose to put up with Roy's repeated infidelity. I understood why she would choose to forgive him the first time, but the consistent cheating should have been a problem. I think Joanna can do way better than Roy, but I have never told her that. Anyway, I've set up a date to meet up with her, and I plan to give her a sincere apology, along with a little gift basket. Hopefully we will be able to look past what happened and maintain a relationship without Roy. I'm happy that Roy is out of our lives now, but I miss Joanna and would like to continue being in touch with her. Wish me luck so that I can convince Joanna to stay in touch with us. Update 3. Okay guys, I have some really intriguing news for you. The drama in my life just keeps getting worse, and who else would I turn to than Reddit? Some of you have been oddly invested in my life, so I thought, why not just keep sharing about what's going on? I have plenty of time on my hands after my family chores, so I am going to keep you guys updated on what is happening with Roy. I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is that things have escalated and become worse. The good news is that Joanna is finally starting to see what a messed up person Roy is. I think you guys can tell that our talk brought about some changes that we didn't see coming. Remember how I mentioned that Roy is basically a serial cheater and has been that way for a long time? Well, Joanna didn't know that at all. She got really suspicious when I made fun of Roy and basically accused him of being a serial cheater at his birthday party. We had a long talk, and it was a really enlightening conversation for both of us. You guys should also remember that I said I didn't know why Joanna hasn't left Roy yet. Well, after meeting up and talking with Joanna, I finally realized why. Joanna knew about the first time Roy cheated on her. After all, she was the one who caught him in the act. She forgave him the first time, and the two of them went to counseling as well. Things were going well until Ian found him cheating on Joanna again. There was a huge argument, and Roy was told that he needed to tell Joanna or we would. He opted to tell her himself. That same day, we all received a message from Joanna. She has basically thanked us for encouraging Roy to come clean, and then she asked us for some space so that she could deal with this news. She made it clear that she didn't want to discuss things and would like to take some time to reflect on her marriage. It's been 6 months already, and out of respect, none of us brought up that subject around her. That was until I gave Roy his payback. I had laughed and told him that he needed this book for his serial cheating tendencies. Joanna was a little surprised at that, and it kept bugging her. Roy was also acting odd, and it seemed like he was trying to hide something. Joanna and Roy had learned to trust each other in therapy, so she didn't want to go snooping on his phone and other devices without solid doubt. So she wanted to come and ask me why I had referred to Roy as a serial cheater. I understood then that Roy had never revealed his second affair to his wife. He had probably gotten hold of Joanna's phone number and had texted us all the message to make it seem like he had confessed to her. He has also tactfully told us not to discuss it around Joanna, so we didn't. All this while, Joanna was completely in the dark about his second affair. Different woman, by the way. Roy always had a habit of being a cheater, and I have seen that trait in him since college. Joanna had no idea about all these things. She looked pretty distressed and cried a lot at the cafe where we met. I actually took her home and tried to stabilize her mood before sending her home. I don't know what Joanna will do now, but I know she is going to leave this time. I feel like there's a showdown coming, and I'm honestly a little freaked out by its prospect. Lord knows what will happen now, but I do know that it will be disastrous for Roy. Update 4. Joanna has read that post because I showed it to her. You guys have been so supportive of her and left so many encouraging messages that I couldn't help but show her the post. She is living with me and my husband for now, so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to show her the kind messages that you guys have for her. She's been truly touched by your comments and has thanked you guys for being so sweet. And no, she won't be making a separate post because she thinks this one post is enough. By the way, she laughed at the commenters who said that she should ditch me for the sick joke I played at Roy's birthday party. Joanna agrees that it was petty, but now she's super thankful that it happened. Besides, she also agreed that Roy had it coming. I am not the only one who has been tired of Roy's attitude. Anyway, she gave me permission to share new developments in her marriage, so here it is. Joanna confronted Roy and got the truth out of him. Initially, he denied everything and tried to blame me for making up stories. Yeah, right, Roy. As if we didn't have messages to prove that he had admitted to cheating on his wife a second time. Joanna kept pressuring him to come clean, and he did after some time. He admitted to cheating on her again, lying to us about telling her, and sending messages from her phone to make it look like she sent them to us. They had a huge fight after this. Oh, hear this. Joanna also went through his phone and found out that there was a third woman. I no longer think that my gift was an insult. I actually gave him something he genuinely needs. Although I doubt Roy has learned his lesson. All of these affair partners are either jobless or don't spend a lot of time at work. So Roy's getting the pampering of a housewife from his affair partners. Something that he's always wanted. That's how he tried to justify his affairs. He didn't comment on the fact that he was also spending money on them. Money that was supposedly going towards his credit card debt. He is a real prize, isn't he? He kept trying to justify his actions with the stupidest explanation possible. However, Joanna was done with his crap. She had been thinking about separating for a while because of his continuous insistence that she act like a housewife without actually staying at home. This man is really something else. I am so glad that Joanna finally made the right decision to leave. Even Ian told her that she did the right thing here. Of course, Ian and I are being called various names by Roy because we have apparently broken up his marriage and manipulated Joanna. Mother-in-law is, of course, on Roy's side and telling us off for ruining Roy's happy marriage and causing him trouble. We are receiving a number of objectionable texts from the two of them. Also, we're beginning to suspect that the mother-in-law knew about what Roy had done. She probably knew Joanna wasn't told about his second affair. Despite finding out that her son is a literal cheater, she blames everyone else for his marriage ending. Husband and I are so sick of her now that we are considering going no contact with her as well. She may be his mother, but she's crossing all limits of being a pain in the butt. Neither of us appreciate the way she's literally blaming us for Roy's marriage falling apart. Also, she doesn't like the fact that we're letting Joanna stay with us. She wants us to send her back to Roy so they can talk and make up. And somehow, she still thinks that the marriage is salvageable. Shaking my head at that. Anyway, that's the update till today. I'm sure that there will be more drama, but at least someone is getting out of a stupid marriage because of all this. I'm going to help Joanna and spoil her a little because she deserves it for working so hard and putting up with this mess. I promise I am going to pamper her as much as possible and as long as she stays with us. Update 5. I thought I had wrapped up everything in my last update and wouldn't have anything else to post. I knew then that Joanna would absolutely divorce Roy because I had accompanied her to the lawyer's office as well. So I thought the two of them would just divorce and the drama would be just about Roy being stubborn and an idiot about the process. I don't know how to say this, but things got a little worse very recently. I am happy to tell you that Joanna has officially filed for divorce and is seriously pursuing it. She has already found an apartment for herself with her cousin, so she has moved out. But our house is not empty yet. Joanna moved out, but father-in-law has moved in. He is divorcing mother-in-law. Our guess had been right. Mother-in-law knew everything all along. We had a big discussion followed by a major argument on this topic. Mother-in-law admitted she knew about all the affairs and saw nothing wrong with them. Her explanation was that Roy wasn't getting enough love, care, and attention from Joanna, so he had to go and look for it somewhere else. She also knew and supported Roy's idea of duping us into thinking Joanna knew about his second affair. A lot of stuff came and it basically proved that my mother-in-law is blind to her youngest son's faults. My husband and I had stupidly tried to make her understand that her thinking and Roy's thinking were wrong because Roy didn't have an open marriage and his wife didn't want him sleeping with other people. Well, my mother-in-law's response to that was to go crazy at us and say some really nasty stuff. She blamed us for ruining Roy's marriage, intentionally causing trouble, disrespecting him, manipulating Joanna against him. She kept going on and on about how I was a horrible woman and I have made my husband into a horrible man as well. A lot of stuff was said, after which my husband and I decided we no longer wanted her in our lives. The decision was made on the spot and we're very happy with it. 2 days after that, my father-in-law packed his bags and came to us. He is done with mother-in-law too and has already filed for divorce. There had been underlying issues in their marriage and this one pushed him off the edge. Ian's paternal grandfather had left his grandmother and his father for a young mistress, and they never saw him again. If there's one thing that my father-in-law doesn't tolerate, it's cheating, and people who support cheating. He had pretty much shunned Roy and didn't even talk to him. Roy was only around because of my mother-in-law. When she openly admitted to supporting Roy's infidelity, my father-in-law had had enough. So they are now getting a divorce. I must say, he looks way happier now that he's away from his wife. Mother-in-law, of course, blames us for ruining her marriage as well. Ian and I have tuned her out too, and as of now, both Roy and his mother are blocked everywhere. We don't think we will ever be in contact with them again, so I think this update will be my last. My one action just snowballed into a huge thing and broke up 2 marriages. I can see that Joanna and father-in-law are way happier now, but I really can't take full credit for it. But yes, I am just glad that I wasn't wrong and accidentally ended up saving 2 people from crappy marriages. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.